Welcome to the Interview Q&A channel. Today, we'll be diving into behavioral interview questions and answers, specifically designed to help software engineers showcase their experiences, problem-solving approach, and collaboration skills in real-world development environments. So let's get started.
Tell me about yourself.
I'm John, a senior software engineer with over 9 years of experience in full-stack development and system architecture. My core strengths are in JavaScript, TypeScript, Node.js, React.js, and AWS. I've led several back-end heavy projects, including integrating contact center into scalable agent communication systems at my previous 2 companies. I've also built Docker-based CI/CD pipelines and designed serverless architectures using AWS Lambda, EventBridge, and DynamoDB. I'm passionate about building efficient, scalable solutions, and I enjoy collaborating in agile teams to deliver impactful products.
Why do you want to join a startup company?
Startups give engineers like me a unique opportunity to own the entire development lifecycle, from architecture to deployment, and that excites me. I enjoy working in environments where I can contribute meaningfully, wear multiple hats, and make quick decisions. I focus on shipping production quality code and leveraging modern tech stacks like React, Node, AWS, and Docker matches both my expertise and my career aspirations.
Describe your experience with Node.js APIs and React UIs.
At previous company, I worked with 10 back-end Node.js repos and 2 front-end React repos. I developed scalable APIs and built internal tools used by customer service teams. I also created Express.js APIs and implemented front-end features with React for an AI-integrated fintech dashboard. I also used Redux, webhooks, and integrated third-party APIs to support real-time communication.
How do you manage AWS infrastructure in your current or past roles?
I've worked extensively with AWS, designing serverless systems using Lambda, managing API gateway routes, setting up S3 buckets, handling DynamoDB schemas, and deploying with CloudFormation and the AWS CLI. I also worked with EventBridge and SNS SQS to manage event-driven architectures. I built CI/CD pipelines using Jenkins and Bitbucket pipelines, and I'm comfortable translating infrastructure into code.
What's your experience with CI/CD and infrastructure as code, IAC?
I've designed and maintained Bitbucket and Jenkins pipelines for microservices and React frontends. For IAC, I've used CloudFormation and AWS CLI scripts to automate Lambda deployments. I've also helped onboard serverless framework tools for smoother deployment workflows. While I haven't used AWS CDK specifically, I'm confident I can ramp up quickly, given my experience.
How do you ensure code quality and security?
I conduct regular code reviews and encourage unit and integration testing using Jest and Mocha. I follow clean code principles, enforce linting, and write meaningful commit messages. For security, I follow OWASP guidelines, secure API keys using environment variables or AWS Secrets Manager, and ensure proper IAM role management for least privilege access.
Can you talk about a time you worked on a full SDLC project?
At previous company, I worked on a new call center solution from scratch. I designed the back-end architecture using Lambda and DynamoDB, built the front end with React, implemented contact center for real-time comms, wrote test cases, and managed releases via CI/CD pipelines. The project involved stakeholder collaboration, agile ceremonies, sprint planning, and post-launch support.
Do you have experience with MySQL and ORM tools?
Yes, I've used MySQL with SQLize ORM in several Express.js projects. At a Compay, I designed schemas for communication logs and user data, optimized queries, and handled migrations. I'm comfortable working with relational database design and integrating it into full-stack applications.
How do you prioritize tasks and communicate in a small team?
I use tools like Jira and Confluence to keep track of tasks and document solutions. In agile teams, I actively participate in daily stand-ups, retros, and sprint planning. I prefer proactive communication. If there's ambiguity, I quickly sync with stakeholders. I prioritize by business impact, dependencies, and development effort.
What motivates you in your work?
I'm driven by the challenge of solving real-world problems with technology. Seeing users benefit from tools I've built, especially when performance and scale are involved, really motivates me. I also enjoy mentoring juniors, continuously learning, and experimenting with new tools and patterns.
What's your experience with serverless architecture?
I've designed several serverless solutions using AWS Lambda, API Gateway, EventBridge, and DynamoDB. For example, at previous company, I built a contact center task routing backend using Lambdas and EventBridge to asynchronously handle user interactions and store events in DynamoDB. Serverless allowed us to scale effortlessly and reduce operational costs.
How do you handle performance optimization in Node.js applications?
I use techniques like asynchronous I/O, database query optimization, caching with Redis or in-memory stores, and worker queues using AWS SQS. I also analyze performance bottlenecks using logging tools like Splunk and profiling with Chrome DevTools or Node Inspector. In one case, caching frequent queries reduced response time from 700 ms to under 100 ms.
How do you structure your React applications for scalability?
I follow atomic design principles and organize components into shared, feature, and container layers. I use Redux for global state, custom hooks for reusable logic, and lazy loading for performance. I enforce separation of concerns, making testing and feature expansion more manageable.
What's the difference between useEffect and useLayoutEffect in React?
UseEffect runs asynchronously after the DOM has painted, while useLayoutEffect runs synchronously before painting. If you need to measure layout or synchronously update the DOM before it's visible, e.g. for animations or scroll positions, use useLayoutEffect. Otherwise, prefer useEffect to avoid blocking paint.
What's the difference between SQL and NoSQL? When would you choose one over the other?
SQL databases are relational and use structured schemas, ideal for complex joins and ACID-compliant operations. NoSQL is schemaless and scales horizontally, making it better for high-volume, semi-structured data like logs or messaging systems. I used MySQL for transactional data and DynamoDB for contact center event logs.
Thank you for watching till the end. These were some sample questions and answers that you might come across in your upcoming interviews. Wishing you the best of luck. Until next time, goodbye.